Next up, we have Steve Rawling. Steve is an international author and business storytelling consultant. He specializes in helping designers, entrepreneurs, and academics to tell great stories about their work. As a former BBC TV journalist, Steve reckons he has told over 20,000 stories in his career, so he can probably help you tell yours.
So Steve will be talking about the dark side of innovation today, about our love-hate relationship with technology. I mean, we look at our phones more than we look at our partners. We take our smartphones to bed, but we don't really trust the big tech, do we? So we are happy to welcome to the stage Steve Rawling.
Okay, so beware of geeks bearing gifts. If you know your ancient Greek mythology, you'll know that's a kind of derivation from a line about the Trojan War, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. And I've adapted it to beware of geeks bearing gifts, or why nobody trusts big tech, and why that matters to you. So I'm going to go through some ancient myths with you, and then some modern stories as well, because my proposition, my thesis is that we navigate the world according to some very, very old stories, even the modern world. And how we feel about the modern world and technology is influenced by those stories. Before I do that, I just want to say something. I spent lockdown doing many things, but one thing I did was I wrote down a lot of the storytelling ideas I've got into a deck of cards, which is much more useful, I think, than a book. On the front row, right, there's a card. So if you come and sit on the front row right now, you'll take no, you can't pick a card up. You have to sit in the front row. I saw you do that. If you come down and sit on the front row, because speakers love to see people on the front row, come and sit on the front row, you get a free card, which will help you tell stories about your work. Thank you, Helen. Okay, all right, so we love a front row that's full of people. So why nobody trusts big tech? Well, there's a bloody good reason for that. It's because big tech has got form, right? Technology has been used in the past for many, many bad things. If I had come to Tallinn 40 years ago as a Westerner, I would have had to stay in the Hotel Viru, because that's the only hotel in Tallinn where Western visitors were allowed to stay. And the joke back then was that the Hotel Viru was built of a very new technology called microconcrete, which is half concrete, half microphone. Because the KGB listened to every bedroom, every restaurant, every bar. Half the staff in there were paid by the KGB. And at the top of the hotel, in a room, it was stacked full of technology. It was stacked full of listening technology, recording technology. And 2 KGB officers sat in there day and night. The door to that room said, "Keep out." But then there was a sign on the door in Russian and in Estonian. And the sign said, "There's nothing in here." Right. Yes, there is. Okay, so anybody tells you something is secret, something is hidden, something is concealed. Oh, yes, we want to know what that is. That's an old story trick, very, very old. I'll show you where it comes from in a minute. But isn't it a powerful one? It's a powerful story trick. Stories get our attention. So whatever you need to talk about in your work, you need to talk about stuff. You need to get people's attention. You need to get them to go with you on a journey. And stories are the best way, I think, to do it. Okay, there's a lovely quote before we get into more mythology. Let's talk about magic as well. There's a great quote, I'm sure you know it, from the novelist Arthur C. Clarke. And he said, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." Because, hey, we don't know how it works. So I want to do a little experiment. I need a volunteer to come up on the stage, and I'm going to demonstrate how technology can look like magic. Anybody want to come up on the stage, please? Come on, I know you're Estonian, but come on, give it a go. Who wants to come up on the stage and be a guinea pig for a magic test? Come on, thank you very much. Give a big round of applause. Thank you. Helen, lovely to meet you. Right, Helen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically switch on my special app, face the audience. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, come around this side actually, you stay there. I'm going to create like a psychic force field using this phone between us. Okay, you ready? All I need you to do now is say nothing until I ask you a question. Sure. Okay, close your eyes. Okay. Okay, Helen, how many times did I just tap you on the back? Oh, close. Close. Oh, it was three. Helen, how many times did I just tap you on the back?
3 times.
Thank you. Go sit down. Thank you very much. Well, we nearly got there. It was nearly magic. How did I do that? Well, it wasn't an app on my phone. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't an app. Maybe I'll tell you how to do that. Come and find me in the break. I'll show you how to do that trick. But what do we feel when we're in the presence of magic? Even a magic trick that's... Look, that was 75% right, yeah, that magic trick? Even when a magic trick is 75% right, you go, ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, how do you do that? Okay. We feel a sense of wonder in the presence of magic. That's what you can do with technology, the technology you make. We heard earlier about a system to register newborn babies for the first time in Estonia. It's so simple that parents go, oh, wow. Hey, that's easier than I thought it was going to be. A little moment of magic delivered via technology that makes people go, oh, wow. Hey, that was good. How did you do that? That's the feeling you want to get from your users, from your customers. That feeling of, hey, wow, that was good. That little feeling of being in the presence of magic. Now then, I need another volunteer. Anderson, can you catch? You ready to catch? Okay. Okay, just past Anderson a box. There's nothing in there. Right? Don't open it. Don't open the box. There's nothing in there. Okay. Now, here's another little magic trick I can show you. Mind reading. So I can show you exactly what is on Wanderson's mind right now, and yours too. What's inside the box? There's nothing in here. Oh, yes, there is. Don't look in the box. Oh, come on. What's inside the box? This is a very old story. This is the ancient myth of Pandora. And the gods gave Pandora a box. And they said, don't open it. Okay, poor Pandora. I mean, from that moment on, she was doomed. Because why? Well, because humans are curious creatures. And we don't like it when we realize we don't know something. How many things do you not know today? Okay. Helen, how many things do you not know today? You don't even know how many things you don't know. Aparna, how many things do you not know? Yeah, I would say 1 trillion things right now that you don't know. So how do you deal with that fact that you don't know stuff, tons of stuff? You ignore the fact you don't know what you don't know. You ignore the unknown unknowns. You couldn't cope, otherwise you'd be paralyzed with a sense of, oh my God, I don't know what is happening in Beijing right now. So we don't know, and therefore we don't pay attention to what we don't know until someone draws our attention to it and says, don't look inside that box. And now you go, okay, there's now a gap in my knowledge of the world, and I need to close that gap by opening the box. Or I need to, so when you're telling a story, right, about your work, give us a secret. Yeah? Open up a gap in our knowledge of the world, and just like Pandora, we kind of can't resist. So you all work on stuff, amazing stuff. Reframe that. You know the secret of something. Not eternal life, how to get a six-pack in 6 weeks, not those kind of secrets, but you know the secret of something useful. Tell us you know a secret, and you've got our attention. So it's a nice little story trick. Okay, but back to big tech. Technology, yes. Well, I don't know. I told you there's nothing inside. I've told you there's nothing. I've told you don't open it. Okay. So we're talking about technology, while Wanderson was worrying about the box. We're talking about technology. Okay, so tech, fantastic stuff. There's an irony. We cannot actually nowadays live our lives without these things. I don't know how long any of you have managed to detox for, but the products we use, the technology behind them, the services that come through them, it's very hard to live without them, and yet we don't trust it. Yeah? Like anyone who's bringing up children around an iPad know that it's, we don't like them, we don't trust them. And as I say, I think this goes back, even the very, very modern technology, this kind of goes back to very old stories. So Pandora we've talked about. Let's take a look at this one. This is Cassandra. And Cassandra was blessed with foresight. She could see the future. So Cassandra was lived in the city of Troy. And after 10 years of war, the Greeks left the city, apparently sailed home, and left a wooden horse outside the city as an offering to the gods. Now, Cassandra had been blessed by Apollo with the gift of being able to see the future. But at the same time, clever bugger, he'd cursed her. And the curse was, you might be able to see the future, but nobody will believe you when you say so. Okay, so what a mix that was. So she knew what was inside the box. And she said, this is where the line, beware of Greeks bearing gifts, comes from. Yeah? Nobody believed her. So, there's something interesting here, a very basic dualism that we all identify, very, very old, between light and dark, good and bad. There's no blessing without a curse. There's no up without a down. There's no good without a bad. Aparna said there's no product without a harm. Yeah, technology has a dark side. And we know that, and we know it instinctively, and we know it deeply, and we know it in all the stories we tell. So if your story about your technology is, hey, this is brilliant, this is a blessing, come and have some. Okay, you might be right. But we're ready to believe that there's a curse. So having Google Maps is a blessing. I can find my way around. I kind of know that Google is stalking me, like a needy girlfriend. So, okay, there's a downside, there's a curse. Let's go back to the city of Troy. Something else interesting about Cassandra and the story of Troy. So let's imagine, we're the Trojans. It's been 10 years at war. The Greeks have gone. They've left us a horse. Fantastic, the war is over. We can all go back to doing what Trojans do. Phew, this horse is a blessing. It's an offering to the gods. But thanks to Cassandra, and thanks to our position with Cassandra, we're watching the Trojans and we know it's not a blessing, we know it's a curse. Better than that, what makes this a story is we know they don't know. Right. So we have a privileged view. We are godlike above the Trojans. Look at those stupid Trojans. They don't know what's coming. And what's coming, which we can see, how addictive is that? What is coming is chaos. That's what's coming for the Trojans. So again, back to this dualism. The world is divided between order and chaos. The Trojans have a little ordered world, a little city of Troy. It's all nice, okay, we've survived. We know that chaos is lurking in the belly of that horse and is going to emerge, erupt. It's going to strike at any time. That's the thing about chaos. It's always there. What's interesting about the story of Troy is we can see it coming, and that's quite rare, because normally we don't know when it's coming. It just hits us. Who here can honestly say they saw the pandemic coming? Okay, one of you. Did you? And if you tried to tell people, did they listen? No, Cassandra, of course they didn't listen. Right. So even if we see it coming, chances are no one's going to listen anyway. So chaos is always there. Systems always decay. Power always corrupts. Whatever you've got, there's always a threat to it. And that's what we get in the city of Troy. And I think this kind of leads us into what's going on right now with conspiracy theories about big tech, about other things as well. So what we see in times of chaos, the more chaos there is, the more disruption there is, the more conspiracy theories thrive. So they thrive in times of great uncertainty. They also thrive the lower down you go in the social order. So the more people are at risk, the more they are threatened by chaos, the more likely they are to believe conspiracy theories. Here's the extra ingredient. There's always a secret power behind the conspiracy theory. Yeah? There's always a secret. So that's that extra story ingredient from Pandora. It's Pandora plus Cassandra. That's what's going on in a conspiracy theory, which is why they're such good stories, because there's a secret cabal of, open brackets, technologists, religious nutters, whatever it is, there's a secret group, right? Bad guys. That's why the economic downturn happened. That's why global warming is happening. That's why the pandemic happened, blah, 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 blah. It's a story with good guys and bad guys. And we, if we believe the conspiracy theory, we're like Cassandra. We can see it. Okay, that's why it's a very powerful story. So what do you do about it? Well, you could say, I'm just going to give people the facts. I'm going to give them the facts and let them make their own mind up. And if they're too stupid to understand the facts, that's their lookout. Or you could say, actually, you know what I need is a better story. So what I'm going to give you now is some ideas around the better story you can all tell. And it's actually a story about order and chaos. And it's about your role in the world of order and chaos. Where are you? You're right on the line. You're right on the line between the two. You're the hero of the story. So what are you doing? Okay, well, the world changes. Stuff happens. Whatever you're working on right now, whatever piece of technology, product, service you are working on right now, you are actually doing one of two things. You're helping the user or the customer establish some order in a crazy world, a bit of safety, a bit of predictability, right? Or you're helping the user shake up an old order that's become too restrictive by injecting a bit of much-needed chaos, because chaos is where new things come from. Do you remember this morning? Chaos is creativity, order is profit. Okay. So chaos is where new things come from. So maybe you're shaking things up, but you're doing one of those two things. Either way, that's a heroic task that you're engaged in. So you can present your work, whatever it is you're doing, whatever you're working on, you're doing one of those two things. Now, I had someone a while ago say to me, but I don't want, I get it, but I don't like it. I don't want to be a mythical character. I don't want to be a hero. Like, let the facts speak for themselves. Let the product speak for itself. I do not want to be a character in a story. Okay, here's the thing. There are no stories in the world that don't have characters in them. Stories are about people. The only time we don't tell stories about people is when we tell stories about animals. And guess what? We project people onto them. Okay. The Lion King, by the way, if you didn't know, is Hamlet, told with lions, and a bit of Bambi thrown in. In fact, Disney, the working title for Lion King was Bamlet. Okay, so whatever you're doing, there's a story, and whenever there's a story, there's a character. So, okay, well, I don't want to be the hero. I want to be a, well, there is nothing, there's no alternative. Well, here's the alternative. You can be one of the guys in the red shirts. Morally neutral. Insignificant character. What happens to the guys in the red shirts when they go down to the planet with a lead character? What happens to the guys in the red shirts? Anyone? Dead already. Oh, yeah. So the morally neutral, the morally insignificant characters, we don't care. Cannon fodder, alien fodder. They're going to get eaten or shot. Or maybe they made love to a beautiful alien. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're not coming back. You don't want to be the red shirt. So you've got a choice. Do you want to be the good guy or the bad guy? Tallinn, do you want to be the good guy or the bad guy? Did anyone say bad guy? Okay, you want to be the good guy. Of course you do. You want to be the good guy. Okay, so what do good guys do? Good guys navigate between chaos and order, right? Good project managers navigate between the crazy creatives over there being chaotic and the guys who have to make the thing, yeah, the orderly ones. They navigate within a team. The good guy navigates between chaos and order. The good guy and your company has a personality, by the way. Yeah? Your company's role is to navigate for your users between chaos and order. Shake up stuff that needs to change, or get some security in a crazy world. Yeah? One of those two roles. What's inside the box? That's what he's still thinking. What's inside the box? What if the thing inside the box, bear with me on this one, was a tiny, tiny cat? And there was a chemical in the box that any moment could be released and could kill the cat. Yeah, we're talking Schrödinger, Schrödinger's cat. Now, Schrödinger came up with this idea. So if you don't know it, Schrödinger's cat is the idea that there's a box. You can't see in the box, but there's a cat in the box. There's a random timer that will go off any minute now and release the poison into the box that will kill the cat. But you don't know whether the timer has gone off yet or not. So at the moment, as far as you're concerned, the cat is alive and dead. Because you don't know. He's trying to illustrate something about quantum physics. So in quantum physics, a particle can be in two states at once. How crazy is that? The cat is in two states at once until you open the box. When you open the box, your consciousness, your intelligence, your view, your observation, it collapses from what they call a superposition, two things at once. It collapses into a live cat or a dead cat. Either way, it collapses into one thing. Okay, that's quantum physics. That's how the universe actually works. Does it sound like a story? It does. Let me show you. Here's another thing. In the beginning, there was nothing. There was dark, there was chaos, there was storms and desolation. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, that's Genesis, the opening line of Genesis, the oldest story we know. What's happening? Well, God divides the universe into day and night, and then the earth and the heavens. Then he creates plants, and then he creates animals, then he creates humans. And he makes humans in the image of God. Okay. Is that not a little bit like opening the box on Schrödinger's cat? So in the beginning, there's nothing, there's just chaos. There's a superposition of lots of things at once. God says, let there be light, conscious intelligence, observing. It collapses into a single state. Okay. Then God makes us in his image. We can do the same thing, right? We can be creative. So we can, right, think about this. Think about the future of your project now, what you're working on right now. How many different things could you do in the next 24 hours, the next 2 weeks, the next 6 months, the next year? How many different things could you do? Well, the answer again is going to be a lot of different things. So the future is this massive potential. It's chaotic. There's so many things that could happen in the future. So what do? You make a choice. You make a conscious choice. You say, guys, we're going to do this. This is the research. This is the plan. This is the deliverable. This is the action. This is the product. So you observe chaos and you bring it down. So, okay, here's the thing we're going to try next. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like creation. Now, if that's not enough to get you out of bed in the morning, excited to do your job, I don't know what is. Okay, so is the message from this that you are godlike in your creative abilities and go out and make a new world? Now, you wouldn't believe that, would you? Okay, it's not quite the message, because yes, that is the beginning of Genesis. It opens that way. But what else happens in the book of Genesis? Well, okay, Adam and Eve eat the apple. They get thrown out of the Garden of Eden. Cain kills Abel. God sends a flood to wipe out humanity. Saves Noah. The Tower of Babel comes crashing down. So if the first part of the book of Genesis is about the genius of creativity, that's what it's about. That we all share, by the way. We all share that genius of creativity. Okay, that's the first part of the book of Genesis. The second and third and fourth and fifth is about the sin of pride. And the moral of that story is, we're not as bright as we like to think we are. Or we're only human. We aren't godlike. We are very, very human. Let me just show you the sin of pride. I always wondered why the sin of pride was the original sin, right? Surely lust or greed or, they're sexier. But no, pride is the original sin because it leads to everything else. Because when we think we're too clever, when we think we're too high and mighty, that's when things go wrong. Let me show you the sin of pride in 20-second video shot on a dashboard camera in a suburb of, I think it's Adelaide. Oh, piss off. I love that. I never tire of watching that. What's going on? This is like a Greek tragedy in 20 seconds because it goes like this. There's hubris, pride. Look at me, this is my road. Then there's nemesis. The gods strike you down for being so proud. Then, interestingly, the catharsis is the third stage. The audience, we laugh. Look how the mighty have fallen. We love that story. We'll watch it over and over and over again. Google, by the way, go on YouTube, search instant karma. There's a whole genre of look how the mighty have fallen. And it gets millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of views. We can't get enough of that story. Okay, the last kind of takeaway, then I'll do some questions. So you're telling a story about technology. And I'm going to show you a little trick you can use to try and tell a better story about technology. Now, I'm going to introduce story arcs to you. The thing about story arc, basically, requires a finger, a magic finger. And basically, it's like tracing a line. Okay. So I need to check your fingers are working. Okay, so can everyone stand up? Come on, it's just been lunchtime, I know. Everyone stand up. Okay. Put both hands out in front of you, both fingers pointing like this. Okay, he's going to use both fingers for this test. Okay, cross your arms over like that. Twist your arms around like that. Now grip your fingers together. Now, magic fingers, remember? Tap your fingers like that. Yep, tap, tap, tap. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Maybe your fingers aren't that magic after all. Okay, you sit down. Okay, so magic finger time, story arc. So I want everyone to put their finger out and trace a line that goes from the bottom, where are we now? Right, goes like, follow my line, goes like that, from down to up. So it goes bad to good. That's the story arc. And that's the story arc that almost all of you are using right now when you try to sell your work. Because that story arc goes like this. You've got a problem, I've got the solution. Brilliant. What a great story arc. That's the average, standard business story. You've got a problem, come with us, we've got the solution. You've used this one many, many times. Nothing wrong with it. This is the story of Cinderella, Harry Potter, Rocky. We like these stories, rags to riches stories. Okay, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is we're so clever. Come with us, we can sort this out. Great, we like it, it's optimistic, we like optimistic people. Except, what does it sound like? It sounds like the sin of pride. We're so clever, oh yeah. So it actually sound, when you say that, we hear this story arc, which is pride, fall. So the moral of this story is, we're so clever, oh shit. So this is the story of Titanic. The minute someone said, this ship is unsinkable, don't get on a ship that somebody says is unsinkable. This is the story of Napoleon's march on Moscow, interestingly. For every 100 books written about Napoleon's march on Moscow, there's only one written about the Russians marching on Paris 2 years later. Why? Because we like this story. We really like this story a lot. This is the story, go back to mythology, this is the story of Icarus. Yep. Technologist's nightmare. Daedalus, his father says, I built you these wings. They're Bluetooth enabled. 4G, 5G wings. Right, I built you these wings out of wax and feathers. We can escape the prison we're kept in, but don't fly too close to the sun. And of course, Icarus ignores the advice, gets carried away, thinks he's so clever, flies close to the sun. The sun melts the wax, the wings fall apart. He ends up in a worse place than he started. He's dead. He falls into chaos. So we're kind of really aware of this story, the Icarus story. So what do you do about it? How do you get past Icarus? Because if you're only doing rags to riches as a story, the problem is we're ready to hear Icarus. You're saying blessing, we're hearing curse. So what do you do about it? Well, here's what I think you do. You take the story arc and you take it a step further. So you go, okay, you've got a problem. We're going to work with you on this. We think we can sort it. Hey, but guess what? We're going to hit a setback along the way, at least one setback along the way. But guess what? We're the kind of people who don't give up. So we're going to keep going. Because the moral of this story, this is what I want you to take away as technologists, to take this story away. The moral of this story is, there's no easy way. There's no easy way to do good things. If it was good and easy, we would have done it already. Yes? So if you are going around telling people that your product or your service is good and easy, you're lying about one of them. And we can see right through it. We would like to think that we could get a six-pack in 6 weeks. We'd like to think that's the case. That's why we buy the magazine that promises us a beach body ready by the summer. We'd like to think that's true, but yeah, we kind of deep down know it isn't. And we feel bad about the people who try to sell us the beach body ready by the summer nonsense, because we fall for it and then we feel stupid. So why do that to your customers when you could do this? And you could say, hey guys, this is going to be great, but it's not going to be easy. things will go wrong. That's where we come in, because we know what we're doing. We've been there before. I've got scars on my back. Yeah, I can show you the mistake. I can tell you about the mistakes I've made. How many times do you ever talk about the mistakes you've made outside of your immediate team? If you don't talk about mistakes within your team, you are in big trouble. But how many times do you talk about your mistakes with clients? Maybe it's not the first conversation you have, but okay. Setback and recovery, no easy way. So, okay, 3 ancient myths, Pandora, Cassandra, and Icarus. 3 story tricks. Use secrets. Talk about order and chaos. And don't promise people that there's an easy way. So guys, listen, you are doing amazing work. You should be very proud of the work you do. You are doing little moments of magic when you get it right. So do brilliant work, but tell realistic stories. Thank you very much. I should say very quickly, I'm going to put up on LinkedIn, I'll put those 3 story tactics as PDFs on LinkedIn straight after this talk.
So here's a little gift for you, and I think we already had a question there, so let's get the mic.
Okay, can one open the box? Yes or no?
Woo!
Okay, minor joke. Thanks for playing ball. Okay, questions?
Please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've done what you are saying. So I'm a security expert working at a university.
Yep.
And a number of times companies asked me to help them with security. And that's exactly what I've been doing. I told them there's no easy way, and yeah, we might fail, and so on. And guess what? Nobody wanted to work with me.
Okay, so here's an interesting story. Could you tell a story? Here, right, right, we love stories of happy customers. Those are good testimonials. Happy customer, yeah? Customers who come back again and again. We like those stories. The other kind of story we really like are tricky customers. So have you ever had a customer who came to you and you said, this is not going to be easy? They went, they tried something else, and then they come back 6 months later and go, oh, you were right. Has that ever happened? Where the customer comes back and realizes you were kind of right. Because that's gold dust. That's the story you need.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't have customers because I'm an academic researcher. If somebody doesn't want to work with me, then I say, oh, okay, I have other things to do.
Well, so do we all. If customers don't want to work with us, we don't chase them home. But what's really interesting is for all of you, again, you've offered somebody the hard way of doing something. They've gone, no thanks, we want the shortcut. They come back 6 months later going, you know that hard way you were talking about? The shortcut wasn't so good. Brilliant. That is the prodigal son story. Yeah, we love the sinner who repents. So the customer who wanted a quick fix and then realized quick fix cost a lot more, then comes back for the real solution. If you've got those customers, they make brilliant stories. Okay.
Any more questions in the audience?
One from, yes,
Wonderson.
yeah?
You're okay.
Okay,
We
so-
asked you many questions as well.
All right, so you told us a lot about these stories and how to how to bring it into our context. So how can you apply this into more product narrative instead of just we have this a checklist of benefits, this benefit base?
Well, the first thing I would say is position yourself on the line between order and chaos for your user. So what are you doing with this product? So this list of things, this checklist of all the things you need to build, they're like, okay, you're going out to fight a dragon. These are the tools and weapons you're going to take with you, but they're not the dragon. The dragon is the sexy bit that we care about. Yeah, the epic. So being on the line of order and chaos, helping your user deal with chaos they can't stand, or helping them shake up this restrictive order. Okay, both of those are great stories. So which one are you doing? So that's your starting point. Is this thing we're building is a tool that we're going to give to the user to do something great, something they need to do in this world of chaos and order, and it's going to go one way or the other. That's where it starts, because that's the reason why you're doing it. right? And then the tools with which you do it, well, they come second. But that gives you that kind of overarching narrative. From your user's point of view, are you helping them deal with chaos or helping them deal with order?
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much. We absolutely loved your talk, and we loved having you here.
We have one more.
Oh, at the back.
Okay.
Thank you for the box.
Last one. Thank you.
Box is available later as the digital download.
So, hi.
Hi.
About the Pandora Box, for example, let's imagine that it actually exists and everything inside is all the secrets that big companies have gathered about us and trying to do some evil things with them. So, for example, what will happen if it all gets revealed? The ground reveal, the Pandora Box is opened. Will it be catastrophe or
Well, it's
will it be
interesting.
beneficial for us?
Well, okay, we've got a real-life example of that right now in the news. 2 or 3 weeks ago, a Facebook whistleblower, yes, has opened the box for us all to see, excuse me, what's been going on inside that company. What happens is we all pay attention to that story, yeah? So we all watch that story. When we see Aparna was saying earlier, there's a cost to being unethical. Eventually, might not happen overnight, but there will be a cost to acting unethically. And whistleblowers open the box, and everyone looks inside because, wow, that's interesting. So there is a cost, and I guess if you're talking within your company and saying, well, what's the implication of this for us? Do you want to be the bad guys? Do you want to be the ones who are found out for doing Wanderson's thing about, black, dark cognitive tricks on people? Do you want that to be the story that everyone sees? Because they'll love it. They'll love watching you come down. So do you want that, or do you want to be the good guys? The challenge is
be the good guys.
The challenge is be the good guys and make money. Yep, that's the challenge.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve. It was a pleasure.
Steve.